Hi. Well, we're having a great debate on social at the moment about coal and gas and versus renewables. It's a really interesting debate. We've obviously promoted it. We're wanting to have it, and I'm loving it. And it's great. You're all passionate about it, and different sides and different views. So I thought I'm chipping in for a bit and just to give a few facts because some things out there we just know. So I'm using other sources other than DC Power Co. But here we go. Here's a few. So in terms of federal subsidy for coal and gas versus renewables, federally, total amount for renewables was $2 billion in 2018 and $12 billion for gas and coal in 2018. So, in terms of where's the money going, it's still going to gas and coal. Secondly, in terms of the price increases you've been talking about, you've been saying what drives up the prices? It's all this renewables that's driving up the price of energy. Well, according to the Australian Energy Market Operator, AEMO, three major things that are driving up prices are hot weather, rising hydropower costs because of drought. Both of those you could link to climate change, and many people would. And the third is increase in the cost of energy from gas and coal. Renewables isn't in the top three, just so we know, AEMO. Another really interesting fact is, renewables can't really drive the country. Well, the electricity networks of Australia, so that's that group that take about how the electricity is getting around, all the network providers, they are today, just today, renewables represents, all renewables, household and industrial, represent 21% of the energy use of today, 21%. And they predict that by 2050, 45% of the energy will be coming from the people who are using it, i.e. consumers, either whether that's a manufacturing plant or a home. We'll be producing half of it in our home, but actually 100% of it will be from renewables by 2050. Electricity Network Australia's prediction. So the other thing is, why is that happening and why do they predict that? Well, that's partly another one of the discussions we've had. What's the cost of doing this? So without subsidies, let's look at the cost. So the cost per megawatt hour of nuclear, $120 per megawatt hour. Of coal, 80 to 90 per megawatt hour. Gas, 100 per megawatt hour. Wind and solar, 50 to 60 per megawatt hour. But some people say, yes, but that's not firmed, because if the wind's not blowing all of that at night, then what do you do? So to firm that, you put a battery, or you look at some other systems of getting that. What's the cost of that? Currently 30 to 40. But those prices are dropping. So even with firming, the cheapest way, if you're new building, so yes, if you've got an old power plant and you're just using it, it's cheap because you're just throwing in coal. But if you compare the building of energy, even with firming, i.e. batteries and other things, wind and solar is the cheapest. And that's why, to my last point, where is investment going? All of investment in this space is now shifting away from gas and coal to renewables. Why? Because it's the cheapest way if you're building something from new to generate energy. Because the inputs, often wind and sun, are free. Great. One last point is there's a conversation about here, but yes, the energy to build a solar power in terms of, the emissions that you've got to create to build a solar power aren't created in the whole life of that solar. Well, a solar panel has a life of 25 years. And the energy needed to create it would be created in its first half to 1.5 years. So it pays for itself in energy 10 to 20 times. We don't need to worry. Another fact, that's great. So why are we here then? So why are we having that debate? DC PowerCo, many of you who are on social are customers or investors. So let me tell you why we're having this debate. It's because actually most power companies out there are actually focused on selling you more energy. That's what they want to do. We're not. We're actually focused on giving you a great service. That's our job. That's why we were designed. And we're at the cutting edge of that. And given that that is the market that's growing, and given that by 2050 they expect it all to come from renewables, surely As investors, you want us to be in that space, creating that debate, having the conversation, and getting out there and maximizing our opportunity to serve you either as a customer or an investor. That's our job. We're trying hard. Keep having the debate. I love it. See you later.